Good morning. I hope everyone's having a great week so far. I just thought I'd hop on here real quick. I mean, I have some other stuff that I'm going to be putting on my channel, but there's just a few things that were on my heart that I thought I would share. And, you know, some of it, I don't know if some of you out there that are maybe content creators, or maybe not even content creator, but just like how you go about things. I have attempted to do some videos and bring back my Wake and Bake morning show. It's going to be on ShellySJSmokeout.com soon. Some old episodes are on there, but the return of it's going to be there. But like some of the things I'm going to talk about today, and like the Wake and Bake and a couple other things, it's like I've attempted, but because it wasn't perfect, I'm like, oh no. For example, I was like, when I do this video, like, oh, I'll work out and then I'll get ready and then I'll do the video. And then like, it just doesn't happen. And so like right now it's early in the morning and I have no makeup on. I just got through having a complete anxiety attack, which was like, I felt so sick I was gonna throw up. So this isn't how I wanted to talk about some of the things I'm gonna talk about, but who cares? Like, so what? It's real. And yeah, it's nice to have videos that, I have my hair and makeup, I have a cute outfit, the lights, and it's perfect. But I think sometimes when I sit on some things, it kind of loses like my whole point, I guess, or the energy behind my point sometimes. And then sometimes I do need to sit on things and then revisit, and then that's when it's time. So let's start off with, I just had a huge anxiety attack. So I woke up at 5 and, I was just picking up a couple of things, getting my coffee going, which by the way, this is still my first cup of coffee and that was so many hours ago now. But, everything was fine. And see, I'm trying to sugarcoat it, but this is just, here's the thing. Anything I say in this video, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I am not trying to bring any negative vibes to anybody or anything like that. This is just facts of what I went through this morning. So I had a Cameo waiting for me, and the Cameo was, you can put on Cameo like if it's for an occasion, and it was for depression and, suicide prevention, which is on a lot of our minds right now. So I guess there's this thing called the Doubtfire Pie Challenge. So I was kind of like, oh, is this kind of like the ice bucket challenge? Which it is, it's to bring awareness to suicide and the prevention of suicide. And so I'm all on board with everything that he said in there. But I just didn't want to do the pie thing, because you put a pie in your face. So the reason why is, I have a couple reasons, which I'm not going to get into, but the main reason was, like, let's talk about it. And I'd asked this person, I said, hey, if I don't want to do the pie thing, can I do the video just talking about it? And, sometimes when people text or write you online, it's kind of easy to take things the wrong way. So maybe I'm taking things the wrong way. But what the person said was, I said, what if I don't want to do it? Are you okay with me doing a video for you just talking about it? And then the fellow said, no, I use this challenge to inspire those suffering from depression because it stars people they want to see. I'd rather you decline than not do it. Talking about it proves no effort. However, I thank you for your correspondence. And so I declined the Cameo because that's not what he wanted. But it really rubbed me wrong when he said that, I don't want to misquote him. Talking about it proves, or excuse me, not talking about it provides no effort. And I just was like, what are you talking about? Talking about it is, in my opinion, way more effective than putting a pie in my face. I'm sorry. If that makes me a bitch, I guess I'm a bitch. But like, it was just like, dude, like, especially right now, I think suicide should be talked about. And people who have dealt with it, people who have people in their life that deal with it, or they've lost loved ones. How we all lost Shannon, you know? This stuff is so real. So then it turned into... Hold on. Oh my goodness, Minnie's just on one today. So I went from feeling like... Hold on. It was the mailman. So I went from the emotion of, what are you talking about? It provides no effort. I don't understand that. And then when I started thinking about it more, it really made me mad, you know? And maybe it's because I'm in a sensitive vibe right now, because I am still in shock about this thing with Shannon. Like, I can't. It's so real. It's so real. And everybody's seeing people that she knew, particularly in wrestling, that are very affected by this right now. So maybe I'm taking all of this the wrong way, because I myself am in a very vulnerable, sensitive energy. But at the same time, that's why I thought when I first got the video, it would be cool to talk about, like, you know, address that, share, you know, with this fan, my thoughts and how I feel about all that stuff. And so it just kind of threw me for the loop that, like, provides no effort. Like, what the F is that supposed to mean? Like, and I get it. There's people, because then I looked it up, the pie in the face, there's a lot of people doing it, and that's great. But where I want to provide effort is by sharing about now knowing 2 people who are no longer here. We had Ashley Massaro, and now we have Shannon. So it's like, and I was closer friends with Ashley than I was with Shannon, but both have affected me completely, has effed me up, and I'll never be the same person I was before their passings. So I don't know. And so I kind of just was like, whatever. I didn't want to dwell on it. I went about my day, and then I just started feeling so sick, and I didn't understand why. I was drinking water. I stopped drinking my coffee in case I was dehydrated. I realized, like, maybe I need to medicate, so I started medicating. It helped a little, but I was still like, I just was like sitting here just like going like this, like, oh my gosh. And then I shared with Metal Jesus this Cameo thing, and then that's when I was like, oh my gosh. After I dealt with that situation, that's when I got sick. So obviously it bothered me more than I thought. And because right before I shared the Cameo story, I told him, I was like, dude, this is how I felt last week. Because last Thursday is when I went up to Northern California to go to Modest Moms Wrestling. And I ended up staying out in NorCal until Sunday night. So it was one of those things where, like, I was like, man, this is how I felt on our trip. Like, my stomach was in knots because I was trying to process Shannon's passing, everything surrounding it. And it was fresh, you know, like I've had some time to process it, but I mean, dude, it's only been a week. So I was like, dude, like I felt like I finally snapped out of these like gnarly knots in my stomach, and I thought I'd made some progress. And so that's when I was sitting here just like, oh my gosh. And then when I shared the story, I was like, dude, that's what made me feel sick. So I don't know if that person is gonna watch this video, and I don't know if you meant it the way I took it, but damn, dude, I had a full-on anxiety like attack, and that provides no effort, as you say. So, and I'm not trying to be bitch, but it's just like, you know, maybe if I didn't have these other things surrounding that situation, maybe it wouldn't affect me as much. But there you have it. That's, I feel better. I'm glad that I no longer have those knots in my stomach. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw the camera on and share this, because I know people out there also suffer from anxiety. And you know, for me, I have the double whammy. I have anxiety, and then I have GI tract issues, which they will just love to play together, that anxiety and GI issues. So many. So it's rough, you know. And I thought, before I realized what was really bothering me, that it was going to be one of those days where I'm out for the whole day. And it's like, oh, great, I have a lot to do. It's going to be one of those days where I'm just going to be like having to go be in bed and try to edit in bed or whatever. But now it's like, no, now I'm ready for a fresh cup of coffee and just reset, because I realize now what it was, you know. And so, you know, I talked about this week on Shelly SJ Smokeout, my feelings about Shannon and her passing and how it's messed me up. We did a free show, so if you want to see that in its entirety, just go to my my Twitter. It's on there. I'll try to figure out a way where it's easier for people to find. Oh, you know what? I'll link it below. I'll link it below. We did a free, we do it once in a while, we do a free episode of our Shelly Stone Smokeout podcast. And we played Uno, which was really awesome. But I get into more detail about how I feel about Shannon's passing. Like I said, how it's affected me. You know, I hate to admit this because it makes me have so much guilt, but it's so crazy because just before Ashley passed away, I was upset with her. She knew I was upset with her. And I ended up having an autograph signing. It was like me and Ashley, I think, were the only no, there was another girl that was a former wrestler, but I wasn't really familiar with her. And then the other gals were benchwarmer models. And when we were at because we did a whole like meet and greet at this really cute bar, and it was in New York, and I stepped outside to medicate, and Ashley went outside to join me to get some fresh air, and that's when we got to talk, and she got to share with me some of the things that she was going through, and I was able to talk to her about why I was upset with her, and we laughed, and she was just like, you're not the first person to tell me this, because I'm, and it made sense for like how she was telling me what was going on in her life at that time. So when she passed away, like a few months later, I was so grateful I had that opportunity to chat with her, tell her why I was upset, to where we laughed about it and made jokes about it. And then with Melissa Coates, you know, I've known her for a really long time, and the last like year or so I've been kind of distant with her as far as like getting back to her in direct messages. And she knew why. I wasn't mad at her. She wasn't mad at me. I'm not gonna get into the details, but there were times that people had access to her, to my private conversations with her, that shouldn't have seen those conversations. So I didn't feel like I could, like, one of the things I told Melissa was just like, you know, I'm so sorry, but like, if you direct message me, I don't know if someone's gonna get into your account again, and you know, unless I hear your voice, like, I don't know if it's you or not. So I got to tell her, like, you know, look, I'm not mad at you. It's just, I don't know if I'm talking to you or not, you know? And then, you know, she passed. And then with Shannon, you know, I hadn't really been talking with her or anything. Long story short as I could make it, I just felt like I'd be bothering her if I were to reach out to her as often as I thought about her. I don't know why, because anytime I've had a conversation with Shannon, she's never made me feel like I was bugging her or anything like that. If anything, she understood and related. I don't know why I felt like I just didn't want to bother her. I just felt like, I don't want to annoy her. Minnie was driving me nuts during this video. Hold on. I had to put her in her crate. Like, I don't know why. And I am so upset about that. I wish I just would have said, who cares if she gets annoyed by me or whatever, like, or if I'm bugging her. So and what's crazy is when I was a few months shy of being 18, mine and Danielle's dad passed away in a car accident. So our dad was really effed up on drugs, especially towards the end of his life. And there was a situation where when he was like on one or whatever, I remember being at Chuck E. Cheese and me and Danielle and him, and he got like short-tempered with Danielle. She was really little, and like she was walking and he like kicked her in the butt really hard, not as a joke, but like because he was mad. And when I was growing up and I was little, but way before Danielle was ever even in existence, there was a time where he and my mom got into a physical fight. He was on one, and I remember I had a little chihuahua. His name was Peepees, and I was holding him and I was scared, and I opened my bedroom door and I just yelled, "You guys are scaring me." And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come after you next." And then he grabbed me by the throat and he threw me, and I like hit the wall, and I was so scared that my dog, I didn't want anything to happen to my, I don't know where it cut out, but so I was afraid that when I hit the wall that my dog was gonna, like, I was gonna let go and then my dog would get hurt. So when he kicked Danielle at Chuck E. Cheese, I was like, hell no, not on my watch. So I pretty much told him that if he didn't at least try to get off the drugs, that I didn't want to see him, and I didn't want him around Danielle, because after what he did to me when I was that little girl, I was being protective over Danielle. So we went months, like almost a year, without seeing him. And then around the holidays rolled around, and he was hitting us up, so I was like, fine. And then we saw him, and it was like, we didn't talk about anything. We went out to eat, like whatever. At the time I was going to community college, so I only had a little bit of time to hang out. And he said, you know, I'm gonna go visit your grandpa, which was his dad. He lived in Texas, and when I come back, we'll go to Disneyland, blah, blah, blah. And then on his way to my grandpa's, that's when he got in the car accident. So I guess the moral of my story is I do carry around a lot of guilt when I had to distance myself from people. But in my mind, I always go to this like weird place because whether it was my dad, whether it was Ashley, whether it was Melissa, whether it was Shannon, it's like they died, and before their passing, at least I was able to like make sure we were cool. And that to me has traumatized me in a way, but then like kind of puts me in check. Like, you know, to say something. And earlier today I saw Francine had tweeted something to the effect of like, tell people how you feel about them now because you don't know, you know. And I'm glad that as much as I had to put my pride or whatever aside, like that I had those moments, you know. I'm still in such a complete like numbness with Shannon's passing. I know tomorrow is her funeral. Sucks. Can't be there, you know. But it's been rough for everybody, you know. Her friends, her family, the fans, her E-fans. You know, it's been so cool. Some of my Secret Society members were E-fans with her. And they share with me like some of the conversations they had or screenshot some of the conversations they had with her. And it's just like, we're all hurting. And it's just so effing sad that Shannon felt so alone that she felt this was her only option. And we're all effed up over this because we just wish she was here, you know? And I really hope that her story and people continuing to talk about her and their connections with her and everything in between helps people out there that are feeling the way Shannon did that night or understood where she was coming from or whatever, you know. I've been so afraid of death my entire life. Suicide has never been something that I've struggled with because I'm so afraid of death. But I understand darkness. I understand being sucked into darkness and letting it take over. Like depression, feeling alone, like so of course, please, if you're out there and you're watching this and you're feeling like not being here is your only option. My camera keeps overheating, so I don't even know where it stopped. But if you're struggling with these feelings, like I'm here to tell you right now, take this as a sign that that is not your option. Like I know a lot of people watching this, I've never met you, people who maybe are feeling these feelings we haven't met. Maybe we have, I don't know. But I care. And it's not your only option. And I pray for you that you find some healing so that you understand that that's not the only option. Well, I'll leave you guys with that. I guess I'll put this video up. Hopefully it didn't cut out too much. I know that did with past videos I've done where my camera overheats like more than I thought got cut off, so hopefully that's not the case. Stay tuned, have lots of updates, blah blah blah. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my 101 video calls on Cameo, so if you want to check that out, it's $15 for 5 minutes. And they take a picture at the end, so you get a little keepsake as well. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here now. Bye.